So let me tell you this story about how when I got placed in the mental hospital at Temple. Yo, it was a classic day, a group, and you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So I decided to go and do it. The things I love to do, they was doing it. I mean, bracelets. They had Michael Jackson on. It was like all different times you want. They didn't treat me wrong. They respect me. I had no issues when I was there. In a group, one. Yeah, let me tell you how when I was in the shower. I'm in the shower. And when I'm in the shower, all of a sudden, I feel something like it's trying to make me faint. So I bend down, one, and it stopped. It went no more. So they was trying to kill me or do whatever they wanted to say they was trying to do. At Temple, you won. After it happened at one time, it never happened again. They felt like I had protection because people stayed near the door, so nothing would happen to me again while they was there. It's true. So let me tell you another story that happened. It's right the same time I was there. I'm in the hallway, walking the hallway. It's this dark-skinned dude that was bald head. He didn't like it. He was getting mad. This was overnight. He won. He didn't like it. He wanted more. So he was working with another staff. And I used to work overnight. So I was like, he's mad because he wants to go to sleep. He wanted more. So he decides this night that I'm walking to grab me. And he had the other bull grab me. So he dragged me in the hallway. So when they dragged me in the hallway, I decided to make my body go limp. So I'm doing or whatever, letting it be known, something is going on. One, they called a bull Malik. He worked doing in the medical side, where they give injections at. So Malik comes out, he got a needle. They got me in the room, they got me on the bed. Malik gets on top of me. When he gets on top of me, I snatch the needle from him. Everybody just standing there watching. The men, everything just standing there watching, like, fuck, what? They ain't want no smoke. This is true. So after I snatched the needle from the lead, I gave it back to him. One. So what they do after this, they decide to take me in the hallway, hang up with me in this room, and just tie me down in the bed. It's this girl named Brittany. She's standing there against the wall. And she was like, Ray didn't ask me to join in. You won. She decided to join in. She at the top. I start going at this bitch. I'm swinging it. I'm like calling at her. I think I bit her by saying, correct, you did. You won. This bitch got fucked up, mind you. She was on her lunch break. And that was not her floor to be on. She came up there showing her lunch break. You want at war. Mind you, I seen her before this day, and she didn't act like she had any animosity against me. Yet at the same time, I spoke to this Muslim lady, and she used to talk to me about things and everything else. Her and the Muslim lady had beef. So they tied me down, they make the shit tight, they give me a needle. I lay there and I'm screaming, trying to get people attention. You won. So I know, like how I felt was the staff was coming up and it was coming through. This one lady, she came through, I felt like, and she was standing at her door. You won at war. Oh, light lady, dark hair. You won. Look on the white side. She could have had spinach in her too. Yeah, she was by the door. And she's hearing what's going on, right? She's listening what's going on. So what ended up happening is the other staff, he was an African bull fighter. He was the nurse, the night nurse at that time. Like, he would come in, night nurse. He come in, he checking, he's sitting there checking the thing. See, they lose, but he didn't technically, like, really sum up as he should. Because you're supposed to be able to get a certain amount of fingers in between. If I stand correctly when you restrain somebody, I think it's 2 fingers. You want, mind you, I did medical, so I was taught this. So after this happened, I'm still walking at nighttime. You want to mind you, in the daytime come, the way the staff was moving was as if the day shift remember. And I knew day shift came in when I was restrained, so they know who I am because they see me in the daytime. So they wondering like, why the fuck she restrained? I knew they lied to them because the way that they were acting towards me, which is true. So as time go by, they stopped. Mind you, I started losing weight when I was there. They was trying to make food that I liked, that I would eat. You won. They they were nice to me. Now, remind you, I'm hearing voices at this time, like, no, not my sister, this and third, like, motherfuckers is not happy about what happened. This is true. They knew that Debbie did it, and they wanted me to think, because I'm, like, hearing this lady scream in real life, and they wanted me to think it's Debbie. You won that war. So they feel as though Debbie should have been there, and not me, evidently. This is true. You won. You won that war. Yeah. So the lady, she's an Indian looking lady, she became the nurse, this is true. And she let me walk the floor. You want? She peeped how I was. She did her thing. She ain't bothering me. So I'm doing my thing. This is true. You want? So after this happened, I in the hallway, and I go in the day room where we watch TV at, and the bald-headed bull, he's laying in there asleep. Like, he's getting up with his blanket and pillow and stuff. Like, it's stuff that you could tell. He bring it in there. He was asleep. Mind you, they got cameras in the hallway. This is true. On camera, if they noticed the time that he was in the room compared to out in the hallway, would have noticed he was missing on the floor. This is true. We weren't. So, what I thought was right. Why the fuck? After this happened, they was doing like a drill or some shit. They put the stand alarm, they let staff know that something was going on, staff come, they go in the room. Why? The dark skinned boy with the bald head that was sleeping in the room, the nurse, that's true. Because it's daytime. It was the nurse. You want African nurse or whatever. He runs in the room and he don't do what it's to do right. That the guy there that was the head, one of the head people there, he had to show him what to do. I'm seeing this in the hallway. This is true. Another thing that's happening was I was getting dizzy. It was like I would get up and I would walk and I would get dizzy. So the boy Malik that was standing by the bathroom door, he let me grab his arm to walk to the room. This is true. Mind you, I wasn't touching. I was with somebody, so I'm not touching nobody and not like that. Man, you want that word? This is the first man I touched. So why, when I touch him, I feel this energy release from me. I'm like, I don't speak on it, whatever. Like a lot of things like that. I'm not speaking on. I'm just letting shit happen. Because when you speak on things happen. As if I'm speaking that like somebody could be around me that's cool with me, watching over me and everything, whatever the case may be. If I speak on it, they will know. So I'm not speaking on nothing. I wasn't even speaking in my head telepathically. I was keeping it all to myself. This is true. So anyway, I feel that release, leave. When I feel that release, leave, the first name that comes to me is Jamar. Jamar. That's the first thing that came to me. And it's like, basically like putting the Jamar, like, no, it's not like that. This and third, the voice is going out there. So that's confirmation. It has something to do with Jamar. This is true. Meaning, this guy I know that goes by Jamar is watching me. Why? I'm looking at people's tattoos that work there. They have military tattoos on there. Why? The guy that goes by Jamar, he's in the military. What's the word? I made a bracelet for Jamar. What? It's at nighttime. I snapped because my thing is, me and Jamar made a pact that if we get 302, we will get that person out of there. This is true. I take the bracelet off and I throw it, and I'm like, I say something about how Jamar didn't get me out of there. Mind you, my thing was to keep it on until I see Jamar. When I see Jamar, to give it to him. This is true. the boy that I seen with the military tattoo, he gets mad. Why would he be getting mad, mind you? I didn't say that I knew Jamar. I didn't know people in the military. I didn't say nothing. It's true. The same time I'm there, what also happened is on the door, they have a number to the Philadelphia state. Like if you have a problem or whatever, I take the number. I called the number because they was forcing me to take this medication, not telling me why, anything. It was giving me this medication. It was called Helidol. You won. So I was told by the lady, when her name was Eva, that I had the right to refuse the medication. This is true. So I'm like, I'm a happy shit, like, yo, show my happiness, right? I ain't got to the medication, this, the third, whatever the case may be. Tell me why, after this happened, after I refused to take the medication and everything, I go into the day room. When I get to the day room, it was these three guys that surrounded me. It was this guy that had a Mason ring on. I don't say I know Mason. Had a Mason ring on that caught my eye. He called the two other guys that come around me that forced me to take the medication. You won at war. So the military was there. You won. But the guy didn't know why I did what I did. He might have known. I ain't gonna say he didn't know. But I feel as though he didn't know that I knew Jamar. This is true. And he didn't like the way I reacted by throwing the bracelet on the floor. This is true. And he was mad at me. This is true. When I tell you they gave me multiple needles when I was in Temple, they gave me multiple needles at different times for no reason that was good to give it to me. This is true. And then what happened after this is that another thing that happened was I was, what else happened? Somebody talking to me, interrupted me for some reason. My lady was standing behind me. All of a sudden, she started talking. What I was going to say, please my mind. It left my mind and I forgot it. This is true. You won that war. Because you were on camera. You came in my camera view and I put you on camera. Did y'all see me move my tablet? No. We don't. So, another thing that happened there was for some reason, this guy tried to tell me when, another ignorant person, you won, that when I first got there, I was cussing him out and stuff, right? So I'm like, I didn't know this. Like, I didn't think I was doing this. Because I wasn't on nothing when I came here. This is true. He had something to do with the stuff that was going on with me in there. It was in North Philly where Ernest was living at before West Philly. Ernest signed the paperwork, trying to think, the first time. Ernest signed the paperwork the first time I was 302 and placed in Roxborough. This is true shit. Ernest is Nafis. Goes by the name Nafis. Ernest Nafis that lived in Southwest, my bad. No, he lived in West Philly. Then he moved to Southwest on Old Stage and then Cedar Street. This is true. His mom, all the pictures and stuff of the island darlings, Sylvia and them, is on my page. Shit. So, I'm peeping this shit, right? I get a phone, I use the phone, call the person got me 302, and she tells me my children is back from where they was at. So my thing is she needed help with my other children, so she called for them to come up. This is true. Because these niggas so dumb. Why right after I get 302 my children come back? It's not making sense. It's true. Wow, she decided to give my son a phone. I'm talking to my son on the phone, and my son tells me that Debbie gave him my debit card. You want? Why? Okay, I gave my son the PIN. So if him or his siblings need something, he can get it for them. This is true. Why? I'm going to tell you what happened with this debit card. He gives his sister the debit card. You won. Debbie and my daughter, both of them, or not, because, listen, asked William to take them to Target, and she made it as if she was getting things for Eli. You won. So she gets this little boy stuff and stuff. Why? That is when. On top of the money that they took out for the stuff for Eli, one, $800 was withdrawn from my account at the same time. You won. So when I get out of 302, I didn't go to Debbie's house where she was at with my children. I went to Winfield to Jamar's house. I didn't tell her I was going.
I didn't even sit down. I said, let me know.
Please don't play, Mama. I don't want you around my thing.
So I'm at Jamar's, and I decided to check my bank account, and this is when I noticed the money was soaking. Then I started talking to people, and this is when William let me know he's the one who took him to Target, yet he proclaimed he didn't know nothing about what they did. He lost the word.
I'm sorry, man.
I let him know that the money was taken out of my account,
I apologize.
and that Debbie took it out of my account. I'm gonna do it.
I need money. I didn't give you. Man, it doesn't matter. I'll give you money. You're going to have money.
He had nothing to do with it. He didn't know she took my car. And I didn't know nothing about it. This and third. Like, this is what he tells me to get his stuff out of it. So this is how, that's how I know that birth information. When I was in Winfield, that's another thing you want. Yet at the same time, people don't know how I move until they know how I move. One.
I'm not giving you
Shit.
no food.
Because why would I tell my enemy where I'm at? Unless, whatever reason, you want. That's stupid to tell your enemy where you are at. This is true. I'm free, so I know this. This is true. Yeah, I did call the bank, Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, and let them know that money was stolen out of my account, and I let them know who did it. It was a black woman that I talked to on the phone. Let me see. Because on top of being 302 at Roxborough 2 times, I was 302 at Temple, Friends Hospital, and in Horsham, the Horsham Clinic. You want that one? You can't do it no more. You want. Oh, when I was at University of Penn Medical on Cedar Street, U1. That's when I seen this girl in there that let me tell you this story. This bitch, everybody chilling. Everything good. Ain't no problem. You know when everything good, motherfuckers try to break their head beneath U1. Tell me why this girl came in, tried to get some shit started with this bull that I was cool with. I ain't had problems with nothing, and I knew from around the way. You won. She tried to get some stuff started with him, and the person that was there that we was doing activity with. You won. I put the information out, and I broke that. Everything broke. There was no problem with that on his side. It's true. Why? After that, now I really don't like this bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out, that's the one I was seen when she was young and third. Wasn't starting no shit with her, but now I really don't like this bitch because you in here trying to start shit when no shit is started. So, it's the chair I always sat in. I'm sitting, everybody knew I always sat in that chair when I came in. I would come in, sit in the chair, so nobody would sit in the chair when it's time to eat, when it was time to eat, nobody was really sitting in that chair. Period. You won. Yeah, nobody was sitting in that chair. So why the fuck do the island chick decide to sit in the chair? We have activities. I sit in the chair. That's true. She decided to sit in the chair. First I wasn't going to do the activity. I'm not doing the activity. Then I decided to turn around, walk to the door. And when I turned around and walked to the door, she's sitting in the chair. So I was like, I'm not doing the activity. And I was going to walk away. When I turned to walk away, the guy who was doing the activity, he came to the door because he was cool with me. And that how he showed people he was cool with me. This is true. He came to the door, he called me back. All of a sudden, Island girl tried to play tough behind me. So she trying to play tough behind me, talking the shit. I square up. That bitch sat in a chair and balled up to the other side of the chair. I know war. You won. I know war. University of Penn, when they administered me one time, they kept me there, that's true. The other time I come there, they sent me to Harsham, that's true. And trying to see if they do it again. Because what they would do is take me there and they would do different things. But I remember one time staying there, the other time going to University of Horsham Clinic. This is true, the last time. Mind you, how I felt in there was family in there. This is true. And the room they had me in, let me tell you how. When I would come in there, this light-skinned chick that I think she supposed to be my cousin, but I think corrected. I ain't thinking too much on it. Lost. She would say, what is she doing here? Because I remember her saying it 2 different times. It's true. She would say, what is she doing here? She was just here. And she would say when I was there, you won. So she was putting that out there to the officers who brought me there. Yeah, the officers brought me there because they would walk me to the room because they would handcuff me. And they would walk me to the room. This is true. They would escort me to the room. I was there the first time. Matter of fact, the first time I went there, they took me to Roxborough. That's true. The second time, I stayed. The third time, Horsham Clinic. You won. So I'm going to tell you, remember I had a diamond ring? You won. That was missing because she made me take my jewelry off in there, and that was the earring that was missing. You won that war. Well, that day that I had videotaped the cops doing it up when I put it on live about the cops being in the house and they threw it to me, you won. It was that day. That's your shit. So what the lady would do though, she would make me strip. They did it the first time and the rest of the time. This is true. You won. First time they seen I refused. It was more so showing the energy. I don't want to be there. This is true. So I was refusing to take it off, but they was like, we don't trust you. You won. The second time, they did the same thing. You won. The third time, every time they're doing it, the way I'm reacting to them is not in a manner that, especially the light-skinned chick, you won. She was the leader. The other lady followed behind her. You won. But the energy I was getting, when I came across them before one time, they don't like each other. The dark skin one don't like the light skin one. You won that war. Yet, security already knew shit. You won it. So, one time, the cops stayed around. When they stayed around, they ended up leaving. Yet, they ended up coming back and bringing other people in. This is true. Going past my door. So, I'm seeing this is true. The psychiatrist going to tell me, he's about listening, hearing, talking to angels and stuff. So he's going to say he talks to angels. So evidently they was telling him that I talk to demons. This is true. Oh, you lost. Why the fuck you won? So he's confirming, mind you, he's not American looking. This is true. Yet I peep game. You won. So he's saying talking telepathically is fine. This is true. And he's saying we're alike. This is true. Yet, I'm going along with everything. But I did want to stay there. Like, if I got to stay here, I want to stay here. This is true. This is, after this happened, or time go by, they switched me over to Roxborough. This is true. One. In Roxborough, the first time I was there, the only medication they gave me was Ensure. The second time I was there, that's when they started trying to give me medication when I was there. This is true, and I was refusing the medication. They not telling me why, anything. They try to say I was schizophrenic, yet not telling me how I was schizophrenic. You won that war. This is true. They did try to say, could you hear voices? I'm like, you're talking. This is true. You won. I didn't know the individual didn't have a voice. Mind, these are white-looking people. The lady wanted me medication, and her supervisor. It's true. He's going to say to me while I was there, do you want me to label you as bipolar instead of schizophrenic? Why would he ask me that question, and why wouldn't he explain what it is? Because I was like, as a professional, you explain what it is. It's true. You won. Yeah, this is, again, the second time I'm there. The first time, it was an Indian-looking guy. Mind you, I could tell he was watching me. You won. The second time, I was there, it was white people. This is true. First time, he didn't tell me he diagnosed me with anything. This is true. I'm not going that war. I'm going that war. They tried to box schizophrenic and bipolar together with this medication. They forced upon people. That time, they gave me needles because they felt, they knew or whatever. I wouldn't take the medications. It's true. So they injected me 2 times when I was there with the medication. This is true. I did put out, I refused the medication the first time. I was basically struggling, yet not struggling, fighting with 6 staff at one time wanting to give it to me. This is true. It was a Muslim girl there, a nurse. I told her, mind you, the supervisor, he said that my mom said when I was in Florida, I was getting medication. What the fuck you did to me? I told him to check. Because you should be able to talk to the pharmacist. You see what medications I was on, you won. He gonna say, I can't go that far back. You can't go that far back. What do they got to do with you? This got something to do with the pharmacist. This is true. You're my one. The Muslim girl, I was talking to her in front of the staff that they were trying to get to restrain me. Because I wanted to keep it on camera so they could see on camera. They took me in the room. You won. I was beating the bull up. The bull was like, y'all ain't going to help me. Like, what the fuck? Like, grab her on that tip. You won. So that's when they started grabbing whatever. Then I got the other girl, and the girl was trying to get away. She couldn't get away. That's true. They couldn't give me the needle because I wasn't letting them give me the needle. This is true. Yet, I had said to the Muslim girl, I was like, why don't you let the doctor give it to me instead of you? Because this is what he wanted, not you wanted. You want. Doctor there, I stay standing in front of the doctor. The doctor looked at her, the doctor looked at her basically like you the dummy. You won. That is true. You won. My thing is, bitch,